You said you felt a shock or electricity or what?
Like a poof. Like a poof.
What did you feel?
And slightly disoriented, like a little dizzy.
No electricity or anything.
No, it was a strange.
So the train went through a portal.
It portaled, yeah.
It came Mars out the other side
to Ceres, yeah. And they said on the train over the intercom said you had to drink water immediately because your electrolytes were off balance and it could be dangerous if you didn't. And so we all lined up. They had people there waiting, giving us water. And the people, like I said, that were professional people they were giving them bottles of water. Guys like me, which there were a handful of us, put a number on the guys, maybe 8 guys like me, maybe 15. I don't know. I don't remember for sure. They gave us a little cup of water. And I remember going, I was dying of thirst. And I wanted more, but there was a line that said, hurry up, you got to get over there and line up. It was like the old Nazi movies. There was a guy on a podium talking in German. There were soldiers, hundreds of soldiers lined up in formation. They came, there was a German guy in a German uniform with a gun, a sidearm. And he handed us green little pieces of paper with German writing on them. And he said, you guys are going to take this. I think he called us slaves. You slaves? He said, you slaves are going to read this when you're called upon and as your best. And if you don't want to read it, you can go right over there. And he pointed and there was a black spot on the ground. He said, last month we had some slaves and they didn't want to read this. And we took them right there and we shot them. Is anybody going to get shot today? And we all just sat there quietly. I didn't say anything. He said, good. Now get over there in line. And when you're called upon, you're going to read this. And when you're done, you're going to salute that flag.
Hi, Tony.
Hey, Jay.
So let's start at the beginning. Where were you living when all of this started? Aspect of this whole secret space program and subject that a lot of people have.
It was very soon. Went through as a
All you have to do if you want to know more is just go and search Tony Rodriguez, Rodrigues. If you just search Tony Rodriguez on TikTok, for example, you will come up with quite a few clips or snippets of his interview with.
I went into Theta, and then that was only a few.
His interview on Cosmic Disclosure. So again, it's like, okay, if you own this, story, so to speak, right? What are you saying? Are you saying that these men and women's experiences aren't real? Didn't happen? Like the repercussions of that alone, okay, is concerning.
Came across.
Well, I'm a captain.
Stand by, please. Sorry, I'm screwing up here. One moment, please.
Came across.
Well, I'm a captain, United States Marine Corps Special Section, which is the covert military space program arm of the Marine Corps, which was formed in about the 1954 timeframe by President Dwight D. Eisenhower as response to the lack of cooperation that he was getting from the MJ-12 committee. In the late 1960s, they were developing a augmented soldier program to build soldiers genetically from the ground up, which I was in a program in the late 1960s called Project Moonshadows.
He said, we're going to borrow your consciousness and you're going to be gone for 20 years. And I said, no, I can't do that. I have my mom and dad and my family. I have a family. I can't be gone. And he explained, he said, no, you're going to go right back the next day. It'll be like you never left, but you get to live this extra time. It's going to be a huge blessing to you.
But if this is true, why keep this program with its personnel and technological advances a secret?
I believe that the energy aspect of it is probably the single.
Jean-Charles Moyen, who was kidnapped by extraterrestrials at the age of 4, returned with extraordinary abilities that did not go unnoticed. And he was swiftly recruited as a super soldier in confidential Franco-American space programs, embarking on off-planet missions. And his compelling documentary, Revelations Starseed 2, offers undeniable evidence of his remarkable life experience. Venturing folks into the enigmatic world of secret space programs, deciphering their goals, and their influence on global politics. We'll illuminate the clandestine colonies in our solar system, exploring their purpose and their governance. And beyond human experience,
He said, we're going to borrow your consciousness and you're going to be gone for 20 years. And I said, no, I can't do that. I have my mom and dad and my family. I have a family. I can't be gone. And he explained, he said, no, you're going to go right back the next day. It'll be like you never left, but you get to live with this extra time. It's going to be a huge blessing to you.
But if this is true, why keep this program with its personnel and technological advances a secret?
Yeah, it's like, again, it kind of goes back to, if it's true that this is a narrative and a story that you're selling, the fact that, the implications of what that possibly means is very big. And at the end of the day, I can understand why Gaia would have pulled all of the episodes that had Corey Goode on them. And then a lot of people just call this a lot of bullock, a lot of BS, a lot of nonsense. Again, a lot of people, when you hear even the first 1 minute, 2 minutes, 60 seconds of anything I just, told you or discussed, they are checked out. They check out because it sounds so far-fetched. Okay? It sounds so far-fetched. So yeah, I think at the end of the day, it does hurt the community. And I think that we will see people's real motivations. Their real motivations, whether it be for profit or that they want to get the truth out there. If they want to get the truth out there, anybody whose claim is to want to get the truth out there wouldn't be claiming a trademark on something that they don't own at the end of the day. Saying that the SSP and the secret space program is of your creation is essentially saying that all these other people that have had these experiences, I mean, did they work for you at some point? Like, a lot of questions come to mind. These are valid questions I think that anybody would have. And I really wish that some would be considerate of the overall topic and community overall. Because if there is any truth to this, Corey Goode, if there is any truth to the secret space program, the SSP, these experiences and it's been a lot of men and women that have come. There was a lady named Penny that came out and told us about her experience on Mars. She was also in a 20 and back program. Okay. It's to me, trademark, all that sort of, I created it, the trademark. The implications of that, Corey Goode, it seems to me that you are profit motivated. And that is so disingenuous at the end of the day. So yeah, I think it hurts. But we do continue to move on. We continue to march forward. Definitely, if you get an opportunity, do some research on the 20 and back program. It's very interesting. The thought that one's consciousness could be borrowed and put into some sort of clone or other body, and then asked to do tasks. Essentially, you're slaved. You're not asked, you're told. I mean, that's the one thing that really sticks out from Tony Rodriguez's interviews, is he really hit on how, he felt he was treated by the Nazis, who somehow managed to get into space and are doing trading and controlling planetary bodies. Hitler's body was never seen by the people. There was really no body to bury. Remember, he supposedly shot himself, and then there was a fire, and it was, him and Ava Braun. But with technology and advancements like this, is it possible that Hitler had a different exit strategy? His whole quest for an Aryan nation, blonde hair, blue-eyed people and stuff. These are very, very big to-dos, very big topics, very big implications and accusations. And so if Corey Goode was to own the narrative, so to speak, as he's claiming, what say you to all of these other people who are coming out with their experiences? Because again, I will say, these people coming out with their experiences really only solidified the stuff you were saying regarding your experience. Because again, truth be told, this is so far-fetched. Many aren't going to believe this. It's so far-fetched. So are you profit motivated, or are you truth motivated? Which one? I seen another video that Corey Goode did, a live. I don't know what platform he did it on. But this was after that deposition leaked. A lot of justification or justifying why he was proceeding with a lawsuit against a variety of different people, including the Gaia channel. And it was a pretty self-serving, selfish live stream, if you ask me. A lot of stuff that you said was sounded just very self-serving to me. But hey, we all got opinions, right? Opinions are like assholes. Everyone's got one, unless you have a genetic defect or something like that. It almost hurts to see this, just like it hurts to see, someone in the UFO community, like, Secure Team, for example. When they go in on another person in the community, like David Grush, that hurts the UFO community, and it hurts the message, and it hurts the goal that you're trying to accomplish out here. I never understood why Tyler at Secure Team did that. And when I say did that, made a video about David Grush, who we've talked about quite a lot on this channel. That hurt. That hurt. Now, as much as I can sit here and advocate for Secure Team, love Secure Team, love what Tyler's done over there over the years, that doesn't mean I love everything he does. I really, really hated it when he did that piece on David Grush. I thought to myself, why shoot yourself in the foot? Because this whole UFO community, the topic, so to speak, the community that surrounds this topic, we have to really, really support our own. It's not like, it's hard to be a content creator on these sorts of topics. Secure Team, I'm sure, can understand that. The things that you have to deal with out here when you're talking about this sort of thing, these sort of topics. And so when you go in on somebody that just blew the whistle, right? It is like shooting yourself in the foot, shooting your own community, the people, the supporters, the community that supports you. It's the same community that we really need support for the David Grushes of the world and others that have blown the whistle. Now, you know, everybody has a right to their opinion. I personally, that piece left a bad taste in my mouth. And I hated it that secure team felt like they had to do that. That hurt. Just like I think this hurts. But we will move on. That much I know. We will continue to move on. We will continue to move forward regardless. There's going to be those, and I'm just talking in general right now, there are going to be those that are going to target the UFO community with salacious stories and narratives, and whether it's for profit or for misinformation or to come in. I mean, like the Richard Doty's, right? He admits a part of, when he was working for the United States government and in the, I think it was the OSP, or believe that was the name of his department, but he intentionally did things that, disinformation tactics, manual exactly, like disinformation tactics, so to speak, all right, that would be deployed on the United States, the people of the United States. And that's from within. But there will be those. And Richard Doty is actually one of the main people out here in the UFO community now. I mean, you've seen him on Cosmic Disclosure. He's been doing a show on UAMN, Zohar Stargate, all these different channels that I've turned y'all on to over the years. But he's got, these whole like little podcast episodes where he talks about various experiences and things like that he has been through while working for the United States government, investigating these types of phenomena. But don't underestimate. There are those that are fully in the know with this whole phenomena, and they don't want us to know everything that's going on. So they will intentionally try to muddle the waters, so to speak. And so the last thing that we need is somebody who's a part of the community, who's solidified themselves as a solid part of the community, however, whatever way. The last thing we need is for them to be turning on each other. And so that's, how I feel about it at the end of the day. That leak really hurt. Does it mean that I don't believe that there's a secret space program? Absolutely not. I know there's a secret space program. We even have a United States Space Force now, our newest branch of military, the 6th branch of military service here in the United States, a Space Force. How weird, huh? What do we need a Space Force for? What are we protecting in space? And they are hiring, by the way. The Space Force is hiring. Did you hear me? I've actually went out and looked to see what sort of qualifications you would need to work there. And it's a bit, it's interesting, the qualifications, okay? It's interesting. That the fact that we even have a Space Force is pretty incredible. It's incredible. And I think it is one of the first steps in many to come, hopefully in disclosure. The United States continues to hide or not talk, not disclose facts that we have a right to know about, especially if our safety or anything that could happen to us. We have a right to know, whether it's the harvesting of souls, soul catching, soul transfers, these terrifying experiences that some have had with other beings that are otherworldly or interdimensional, however you want to classify it. Hey, Nakai, good to see you. I don't know, guys. It does not take away my belief in the SSP at all, especially based on the other people's experiences that I hear, right? Like Penny Bradley and Tony Rodriguez, Jason Rice, and others. Those are just the three at the top of my mind. But it does make me question anything that I've ever heard or read from Corey Goode or watched. And I've watched a lot of his videos. And unfortunately, after seeing that, it took a big ding. It put a very big ding in his credibility to me. That hurt, like I said earlier. It really hurt. It's like a gut punch. Like, damn, man. That's all we fucking need. Excuse my French. But it was like a gut punch. Man. That hurt. So unfortunate. I wish nothing but the best for everybody involved. And I hope that we will continue to hear more stories from people that have done 20 and back programs over the years. So shout out to everybody who came through on Facebook, on Twitter, on YouTube, on Twitch, on Rumble as well. Shout out to those of you on Rumble. It is weird to think that we have a Space Force, isn't it, Emmanuel? It is. What are we protecting in space? Typically, our Air Force / Navy has been very protective of like our satellites and things like that. Speaking of the Air Force / Navy / satellites / Black Knight satellite, all right, the mysterious Black Knight satellite. Have you all seen the video from Neil Armstrong's X-15 test launch or test ride? He launched a X-15 plane, and there was an experience that he had while in the air. Have you ever heard of analog horror? I'm sure some of you have ran across analog horror in your lives. There is one. Let me see if I can find it real quick. And while I'm looking,
I believe that the energy.
For any opposition.
Hold on,
All right, Sean.
guys.
Be the light.
Somehow got all jumbled up here. Oh, goodness. I don't know why my mouse is not cooperating. Hold on. Let me see if I can show y'all something else regarding this secret space program while we're doing this. Hold on. Jason Rice. Check this out.
Okay.
While I'm pulling
The last time
up.
we visited,
Oh, and by the way, Jason Rice took a polygraph test and passed it. Okay.
you were telling us about they had made you sign a whole lot of documents, and then you joined something called IDARF.
The Interplanetary Defense and Reaction Forces were a unit that was Border Patrol, used for assistance on other planets. However, there were a number of training exercises and training periods that we spent here on Earth. Later in my deployment, I found out a lot more information about the history of the space program, this one in particular.
Where'd you find this out?
Well, it was while I was stationed on the second planet during my second deployment. And we'll call him Johan, a friend of mine that was also an officer, German descent. He was a Mars German. Not all of them were arrogant jerks. Just like our population here, you have a mixture of good people, nice people, not so nice people. And so same thing with the Mars Germans. Generally speaking, they had an arrogant streak that would put any politician, actor, or professional athlete to shame. And part of that was because they were genetically modified. They did have usually stronger, faster, higher reflexes, higher IQ.
Wait a minute, are you saying that the German people are some kind of genetic experiment?
The Mars German civilization, they have been tinkering with their genetics since they went independent.
Mm-hmm.
During the deployment, we never would have talked about any of this around or near any senior officer, as well as around any chances of being recorded.
So it was really, you weren't supposed to be talking about what the history of this whole thing was.
That's correct.
Well, you must have been really curious.
Of course I was.
Everybody must have been really curious how this all happened. I mean, like, and everybody's speaking German, and we defeated them in World War II, and why are we taking orders from Germans?
Yeah,
And
why are all of our commanding officers of German descent or German accent?
so you were already just curious as hell when you met Johann.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, and
So
during the training early on when I first met him, he knew things about technology that none of the other trainees knew.
right.
And so he'd been exposed to it. I knew that he had. And they tell and educate their citizens a lot more on what really happened. Now, I am absolutely certain that they also provide them with propaganda, but the origins, what happened pre and post World War II, what's happened on Earth, their involvement with alien species, the lessons that they've learned from those involvements, their people are a lot more educated on that.
So World War II ends. We know the Germans were developing the Foo Fighters and early UFO technology, but they didn't save themselves from the Allies at the end of World War II.
Mm-hmm.
They were defeated.
Mm-hmm.
So what happened?
Well, in the late 30s,
Yeah.
there were a number of secret societies, the Vril Society being one of them, that the German state absorbed into their R&D programs. And they were already visiting other planets at the end of the 1930s.
So they had developed technologies in the 30s?
In the late 30s.
Wow.
They had developed these anti-gravity or saucer technologies that allowed them to travel outside of our atmosphere.
And why didn't Hitler use this for fighting in World War II?
Well, he wanted to.
But he didn't. So why didn't he?
The problem was that they couldn't outfit these UFOs with modern conventional weapons because of the second law of momentum.
Right.
They couldn't shoot and expect it to stay on place. As you get a force in this direction, you're going to get a reaction in the opposite direction. And so since it's in the air, they wouldn't work.
So conventional weaponry doesn't work with zero-G craft?
Not unless it's corrected and they didn't have that advancement.
There's nothing on Earth that's even remotely close to what they are. And they're at the size of a grizzly or polar bear in their mass, but they move quickly and fast like a spider. And so that was where the hybrid spider reference came from.
So what, they can change directions like spiders do really quickly?
Hop, move. It's just unbelievable how quickly they're able to move around.
Intimidating?
Very intimidating.
Where did you see these creatures?
These were on Calidus 3, Planet 2. This was the invading enemy that came and was used to try and destroy the planet. The purpose, again, trying to reduce the planetary populations.
Were they made or manufactured? Are they real?
And they were also lab made somewhere. They were not a reproducing species. They were androgynous in that they didn't have any male or female. They didn't have any reproductive organs. They were built for a purpose, and that purpose was to destroy as much as they could on Planet 2.
Did they communicate or talk or?
Nope, no communications that we were able to pick up on or hear. The communications we had surmised that they were, in order to coordinate their own activities, was based on a hive mind concept. in which there was a controlling command structure somewhere that fed the information and the objectives, the different go orders that each of the soldiers needed to follow.
How many of these creatures were there that you dealt with, that you saw?
Thousands.
Thousands.
Thousands. Not all at one time, but over the period of the war. Yeah, there were a great many of them.
No offense, you're not a super intimidating looking guy. How did you deal with something so vicious and venomous?
Heavy firepower.
But they look like they have some kind of body armor.
Their skin itself was pretty much impervious to small arms fire.
Right.
And so it required larger caliber weapons in order to even just do any damage to them.
Why don't you describe them for us?
They are a four-legged creature that didn't have any visible eyes, which meant that they were able to see their environment through what we had later determined was a type of ultrasonic interaction with the environment.
They have big ears?
No ears. No, nothing as far as ears or eyes that were visible. They had teeth.
So they're bouncing sound off of objects and then reading it?
Yes, similar to what a bat does in order to read its environment.
Did you witness these creatures killing humans?
I did. I was in enough situations seeing the carnage that they had delivered. They generally would attack in groups of 25 to 50, seemed to be the standard norm for a unit of one of these. And seeing fellow soldiers being ripped apart was certainly shocking and a psychological aspect of it. When we first encountered them and having to try and figure out how best to defeat this particular enemy, we weren't the first ones to encounter them. So we benefited from someone else's first experiences.
Somebody on planet 2?
Somebody else on planet 2. And so having their experiences with first encountering and learning that these small arms were ineffective and that the larger caliber rounds were the only means of stopping, slowing down, or delaying their attacks. So we were prepared in a sense in that we had deployed larger caliber weapons.
Why are you personally coming forward?
I'm coming forward now because there are thousands of others out there that have been through this, that have gone on the 20 and back program. And I'm not just talking about Americans, we're talking globally. And some of the people that did not come back, their stories need to be told, whether they were soldiers or scientists or just civilians. They provided and gave the ultimate sacrifice for humanity, and their stories need to be told. We need to have full disclosure. The people need to be aware of some of the things that humanity has done.
Yeah.
It's time to heal and to grow from that.
It's pretty crazy.
So you got on a shuttle and they took you to...
It's incredible. The stories are incredible. Anyway, guys, we're just TikToking it, kind of going down TikTok lane and checking these out. I got one more thing that I want to discuss, but I'm going to end the video live stream. I'll be right back live though. I want to talk about the smile tapes, specifically a series called They Lie Above. I don't know if you guys ever heard of this. There is a content creator. I don't know how to say the name. Hold on. Patoriku maybe, who does analog horror. And this is more of like a historical analog horror, right? Old VHS tape. Anyway. There was a launch, Flight 112, that Neil Armstrong did. This was prior to him going into and this is according to the analog horror series, by the way. This was prior to him going into NASA or whatnot, going and supposedly being the first man on the moon. Some people say we didn't land on the moon. Some say it was a whole movie production. Truth be told, I feel like our skies are guarded, aka monitored. It seems like anytime, we've got UFO craft showing up around planes, commercial planes, private planes, military planes. These UFOs seem to, it's almost like they're guarding, aka policing the skies. Do they even let us get to, out to space or get to the moon? There's always been talks of what people experienced when they landed on the moon. Seeing craft and creatures. There's a lot of videos out there. A lot of content out there. Even just discussion, talk. But anyway, we're going to talk about the smile tapes. I want to talk about this They Lie Above series. So I'll be back, you all, here on the leaky.com channel and on Facebook as well. Make sure you check your notifications, guys. Y'all, I'm going to let this video lay where it lays, guys. Much love. Thank you for coming through. Until next time. Shout out to the Leak U community. Please join us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and Amazon Music.
Please hit the like. Thank you.
The judgment sentence that you are an asshole. The trial is over. Thank you, everybody.
Let's play a game. You have 10 seconds to take all your stuff and get out of my life. 10, 9, 8.
God bless you, motherfucker.
You're really smart. Like really, really, really smart like I am.